Okay, we're looking at equations of the form a times b is equal to 0. Now, oftentimes you'll see an equation like this: x plus 6 in brackets times x minus 6 minus 7 in brackets equals 0. Now, that is solved by stating that either the x plus 6 equals 0 or the x minus 7 equals 0. And the question is, first one, why is that? The best way we can look at that is to first see, given an x, let's say 10, how we calculate out x plus 6 times x minus 7. How do you calculate this? Well, by putting the 10 inside or replacing the x with the 10, and then you say 10 plus 6 and 10 minus 7, and this is then equal to 16 times 3, and that's then equal to, what is it, 48. And we see obviously that that is not equal to 0. So for finding the solutions to this equation, we must, we're taking numbers, putting them in, and then calculating it out. And the last step is always multiplying the result of what's in this bracket, which was a 16, times the result of what's in this bracket, which in this case, when we put in 10, was a 3. Now, if we want the result of this multiplication, these two things multiplied together, if we want the result of that to be 0, because that's what it's saying, x plus 6 times x minus 7 must be equal to 0, then one of these must be 0. If you have the product of two numbers and that product is equal to 0, it means that one of the numbers must be 0, otherwise the product cannot be 0. So what we're looking for is a number for x that we can put into one of these so that one of these ends up being 0. And if you think of it that way, you quickly come to the conclusion that if I want to make this equal to 0, then the x I'm looking for is minus 6. And if you now put minus 6 into the equation, you get minus 6 plus 6 is equal to minus 6 minus 7, and that will be equal to 0 times a minus 13. The minus 13 doesn't really matter. The product ends up being 0 because in this case, this part of it is equal to 0. But we could also say, of course, that x equals 7, then putting in, we get 13, which is, just do it the long way. 7 plus 6 times the 7 minus 7 is equal to 13 times 0. And this will be equal to 0. And now we've made it equal to 0 because we've found an x to make the second bracket equal to 0. Okay, so the two solutions are x equals minus 6 or x equals 7. This is how we write it down. But in general, we've kind of guessed the solutions by looking at the bracket. In general, what you want to do is state the following. When you have an equation of the form a times b equals 0, so this is my a, some thing in brackets or some expression, times something else, that is equal to 0. What you want to do is set the first part equal to 0, x plus 6 equals 0, or the x minus 7 equals 0. One of these things must be true to find the equation, or to find the solution. So then minus 6 both sides gives you the x equals minus 6, and the plus 7 both sides gives the x equals 7. Doing it this way is better when you can't, you need to be able to do it this way when you can't guess the solutions. For example, in this part, yeah, it's kind of difficult to guess what x will make this equal to 0. So then you do it this long way. But for this, so let me just do these. This times that is equal to 0. So what do we get? We get x plus 2 equals 0. Or the x minus 5 equals 0. In other words, x equals minus 2 or x equals 5. For the second one, we get x minus 5 equals 0. Or 2x minus 3 equals 0. So that gives you x equals 5. Or x is equal to 3/2. This third one, I've got 1/5 x minus 1/3 equals 0. Or 2/7 x plus 3/7 equals 0. That's going to give me plus 1/3 on both sides, and then multiply by 5 will give you x is equal to 5/3. Yeah. Notice, yeah, you're just using the rules of solving linear equations here. Let me do this the long way. It's 2/7 x. You're doing minus 3/7 on both sides is equal to minus 3/7. To get rid of this 2/7, what do I need to do? I need to multiply by a 7 at the same time, divide by a 2. Keep the equation balanced by doing the same thing on the other side. Multiply by 7, divide by 2. The 2 divided by 2 makes the 2's go away. 7 divided by 7 makes the 7's go away. What do we have left is x is 7 divided by 7 makes that go away, is minus 3/2. These are the two solutions to this equation. Okay, last two look a bit different, but still, it's just two expressions multiplied together, yeah, make for a product of 0. That means that one of the expressions must be 0. Otherwise, the product cannot be 0. So it means that the 4x must be 0, or the x minus 2 must be 0, which means that x equals 0 or x equals 2. That's the solution for that. Lastly, kind of same concept, product of two expressions, so that means x must be 0 or x plus 4 must be 0, means x is equal to minus 4. And this is how we solve equations of the form a times b is equal to 0.